We are about to begin. Okay, got it, got it. So formally welcome to everyone. I am Cigus Vanni. I am the workshop leader today, but I expect you to ask me a whole bunch of questions to keep me going. I do have a presentation, but please don't worry if you think you're interrupting me. You're not. You're giving me a chance to answer your questions. There's no such thing as a stupid question. I've been doing this for quite a few years. I worked for 15 years at a college level. I served as a college instructor. I was assistant dean of the college, and I also worked in the admissions office. So I used to be the person on the other side that would be reading all the applications. My real calling, though, was working with high school folks. 26 years as a high school counselor. Worked in 2 private schools, 2 public school systems. My last one was in Cherry Hill. I retired in June of 2016, and I've been volunteering with schools in Philadelphia. I volunteer for Project 440, the Philadelphia Music Alliance for Youth, Settlement Music School. I've been involved with a lot of musicians in my life, which is a great irony because I have no musical talent whatsoever. I play the radio. That's as far as I go with music to do. And I want to try to give you the knowledge that I have and help you as you go through this pathway. I have been a Naviance user for 15 years now. My high school purchased it in 2006. It is a very expensive program. Can I tell you? I mean, the school district gets a wonderful bargain because of economic situations, but Naviance is not cheap. Let me tell you to do. So I've worked with it for quite a bit of time, and I know the tricks. I know how Naviance operates well. So any questions along the line that we have? Absolutely fine, right? So I am going to screen share. Okay. And I am going to bring up my Naviance account. This is my Naviance account. I'm going to back out of this and go to the home page. So this is what you see when you log in to your Naviance account. How do you get here? Well, there's 2 ways. You can go the old-fashioned way and type in www.naviance.com. That will bring you to a screen that says, hey, who are you? And you click on student. And then it asks you, so what school? And you give the zip code of your school. You have to know the zip code of your school. And then it lists the schools in that zip code. You choose that one, and it will bring you to a login. You have a username and you have a password, just like anything else. When I worked at Cherry Hill, I used to tell all my students when they set up their account a great big lie. I told them that the only password that Naviance recognizes is Naviance. And so every one of my students at Cherry Hill had Naviance as their password, which meant they're not going to forget it. So that worked out very nicely to do. So username, password, and then this is the screen that it brings you up to. Now, you might be thinking, okay, this says welcome Francis. Who's Francis? Well, Cigus is a nickname, not my real name. My real name is Francis. But I didn't really want to be called Franny Vanni for the rest of my life. Like, seriously? Come on. So my brother gave me the nickname Cigus because he couldn't say the name, and I've had that for about 60 years. And I am very happy to have Cigus and not be Franny Vanni for the rest of my life to do, right? Okay, so this is what you'll see. And I'm going to get to the college stuff in a little while because I want to show you what other things Naviance can do that could actually really help you. So if we go up top here, you see where it says self-discovery, right? There's all kinds of cool stuff here that you can do that has to do with finding yourself. So career interests. Some of you are lucky in that since you were 3 years old, you've always wanted to be whatever. Others are still searching. And it's actually more common to not know what you want because you still have many, many years ahead of you. So if you go to the self-discovery homepage, you have all kinds of things that you can use to find out just exactly what are you good at. Okay? So career interest profile here. If we click on this, wait, let me move this over to take show me how. Start assessment. The way this works is that you answer these 60 questions about your interests. Now, I'm not going to go through this now, but you answer these 60 questions, and they're what's called forced choice questions. So it asks you, would you rather be cooking or bicycling? Would you rather be up in a beach house or skiing down a mountain? Different questions that way. And at the end, a profile is generated. And your profile gets compared to people who are in various careers. So maybe your answers match up with airline pilots, or maybe your answers match up with physicians, or maybe they match up with bass players. So you will then be given the major career interests with which you match up. Now, that doesn't mean that just because you want the same things as a doctor, you're going to be a doctor, but it says that your interests match what typically doctors want. And there's 6 different personality traits here. People who are realistic, people who are investigative, people who are artistic, people who are social, people who are entrepreneurial, and people who are compassionate. Can you be all 6 of them? Of course. Of course you can. So there's some mixed traits that come in here with this. And it's based on, you'll see it says Holland's 6 traits. Holland is John Holland. John Holland was a professor of psychology at the University of Minnesota for many, many years. And he is credited with being the grandparent of career research. I mean, this is the man who really started it all, right? So he's legit. Naviance is using something that's very, very much legit here. If you want to dig deeper, there's something called the self-directed search, self-directedsearch.com. It will cost you $10, but it's much bigger. It takes about 90 minutes to do, has substantially more questions. I don't really see the need to do that first, unless you do this first, because this may answer your questions about that. So this career interest profile, start assessment, right? So here's the date. Tell us how each one of these is more or more like you to do. Would you like to develop a way to better predict the weather? Yeah. Work in a biology lab? Nah. Write script? Oh yeah, I would love to do that. Right? Market a new line of clothing? No, nobody would wear it. So this is how this works. See how easy this is? This is easy to do, right? So you can do that. You can do that. So let's go back. Career interest profiler to go. Let's go back to self-discovery and see what else there is. So this career cluster finder, this takes you even one step back. I don't think you need this. This is basically just telling you what some of those careers are. And then strengths explorers, you want to feel good about yourself. I want to feel good about myself. Take this one. This is going to tell you what you're good at. Okay? Right? 78 short questions, right? Tells you what you're good at. You may have some disagreements, but it's only going to tell you what's good at. It's not going to tell you, well, you really suck at this. Like, no, thank you. That you're really good at these things to do. So before you even get to the college pieces on Naviance, there's all this great stuff that you can look at. Okay, then you move to careers, right? So you can explore careers. This is actually going to tell you what these careers are. You know, what does an accountant actually do? What does an actor actually do, right? And here's something to look at. The median salary of an accountant is almost $70,000. The median salary for an actor is half that. So typically, if you're going to go into acting, you're going to do it more for love than for money, unless you get lucky and you have an extraordinary talent for that, right? And these are some pretty specialized. Being an acupuncturist, $73,000 a year. Whoa, whoa, goodness. So there's a million different careers in here. It'd be hard to run out of space and time here. So this is another place that you can explore in the careers area to do. So then we move to the colleges area. And there's a whole bunch of things here. The first thing I'm going to look at with you is this thing called College Match. So what's this? Did this thing just log me out? Oh my God. I hate you, Naviance. Sorry. I don't really hate it. Why did you log me out? Okay. So I'm going back to colleges up here. So College Match. These colleges may be a good fit based on your interests and are looking for students like you. Okay? So these are all schools that might want me as a student. Okay? Now, I just did a survey. I gave them information, not the schools. I gave Naviance information, and Naviance then set me up with these schools. Okay? There's a pretty wide range here. The U.S. Naval Academy and Camden County Community College, pretty wide range in doing this. Okay? So colleges other students like, colleges that have accepted students like you, these are, I would call these practical considerations, okay? So if we go to SuperMatch college search, we can tell Naviance what we want, okay? So select criteria to start. Okay, where do I want to go to school? I want to go, let's see. I don't want to be too far from home, but I want to be too close, right? So I want to be within 500 miles, right? And I want a large city, a small city, a suburb near. I don't want to be near anything small. I don't want to be out in the country to do that. And my zip code 19147. Okay. So 500 miles away from home. Okay. Next, academics. I want a bachelor's degree. The bachelor's is the 4-year degree you get in college. Okay. And what major do I want? I want to be, let's see, I want to be a teacher. Teacher. Okay. Oh, look at all these teachery type things. Whoa. It's going to ask me all of these? Oh, no. I don't want all this stuff. What do I want to teach? I want to teach little kids. Early childhood. Where are you, early childhood? You're not there. Okay. All right, let's teach something else. Let's teach English. Okay. I want to teach English. And minors, I want to major in music. Okay. Search for institutions that have all of my selected majors. Oh, what happened to music? Music, where did you go? And music. Okay. Right. Next, admission. What's my GPA? On a 4-point scale, I'm smart. I'm a 3.6. SAT, I didn't really take the SAT, so we'll leave that out alone. Acceptance rate, I don't care. Deadline, I don't care. Accepts AP credit, sure. Test optional, sure. Common App, don't care. I'm good. Right? So let me to the next one. Student life, organizations. What do I want? I want a band, concert band, so I want that. I want LGBTQ friendly newspaper. I want to have my own Bullhorn. Political activism, and a radio station. Okay. I want internships. Yes. I want to study abroad. Yes. Okay. Okay. So let's go to the next one. And this diversity, right? Overall diversity. Absolutely. Absolutely. 50% minority. Nah, there's too many PWIs around, primarily white institutions. So let's go 30. I want co-ed, male versus female. I don't care. Out-of-state students. I don't care. Religion. I don't care. Okay. 4-year school. I want. Public or private. I want. Doesn't matter. Average class size. Size of school. Okay. Undergraduate schools. I want medium, mid, large, very large. Don't want tiny. Okay, and I do want on-campus housing. Okay. $14 refined. So close. So here's everything that I want, right? And guess what? I have all these schools. Look at this. I told Naviance what I wanted, and Naviance said, okay, Cigus, here they are. Here's all the schools that have what you want. Pretty cool. So here's good old Drexel. We all know Drexel. We love Drexel. Drexel. Oh, Temple. Here we go. This is wonderful. I could go to DC. I could go to New York. NYU. Ding, ding, ding. Rhode Island College. Gosh, if I moved to Rhode Island, I would increase the population by about 20%. So many of these schools, maybe I haven't heard of, but that's the whole point, that I could look at these schools and I could say, okay, maybe these are schools that I want to go to. So you can do this at your leisure. You can see what fits for you to do. Okay? So let's go back to colleges again. And now we're thinking about college itself. This is where you would put the schools that you're thinking about, because then you have a place where you've listed what you're curious about, and then you could always go back to it and compare. Maybe you're going to add some, maybe you're going to subtract some to that, but it's going to give you a map of what you have here, right? And you can just add them as you go. So I'm thinking about Temple, I'm thinking about Drexel, I'm thinking about NYU. They would all go on your list here to do. Acceptance history is very interesting. Right? So this is the high school where I used to work. This is Cherry Hill West. And these are places that Cherry Hill West students applied to. And these are the number of people that actually got in. So 15 to Alabama, 2 people applied to Alaska. Oh my God. So this gives you a sense of where the people before you have gone. So this can give a clue to like which schools are maybe a little more friendly to your high school that you could see. All right. So let me move out of here. All right. So now we're going to get to the real meat of this. We're going to go to college. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead.
There's a question in the chat. So it says, after you put in all of the information and look at colleges that Naviance give, does it save everything that you put in even after you log out?
You have to save it yourself. Good question. There's a button down below that for saved searches, then you can do 5 or 6 other searches. But the answer is yes, if you press the button. It does not save automatically, Kate. Good question. Great question to do. Okay, so we go to colleges I'm applying to. Now, I already did a little work here. I already put a couple of schools that I thought I might apply to. Right? So there's University of California, Los Angeles, and there's Rutgers University of New Brunswick, right? How did I put these on here? Well, number one, they're not schools that use the common application. You don't have to put schools on that use the common application. And I'll explain that in a little bit. Number two, this is how you do it. Click that little red button with the plus sign. So what's another school that's not on the common application? Oh, MIT, Massachusetts Institute. There we go. Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Okay, I'm going to apply early action. I'm not going to get in because it's MIT. The average SAT at MIT is 1550. Like, stop. Okay, just stop. And I'm going to add the application. Okay, so here's MIT. And in this document, you see that it says it gives you deadlines, transcripts. You have to request your transcript from your high school counselor. How do you do that? See where I am up here? Okay. Ooh, I'm going to do annotate. Okay. Right here. Request transcripts. That's where I do it. So let me clear my drawing. So I click on request transcripts, and it asks me, what type of transcript am I requesting? Well, I haven't graduated, so I'm not going to put the final. I'm going to put the initial transcript. That's the one that that's the one that your counselor is going to send at the mid-year when you actually apply. Okay. Where are you sending the transcript? I'm sending it to UCLA, MIT, and Rutgers. But I'm really not. UCLA doesn't want a transcript, and Rutgers doesn't want a transcript. Okay, are any of you like a little stunned here? Why wouldn't they want a transcript? Because some schools, like UCLA and Rutgers, ask you, the students, to type in your grades. It's called a self-reported academic record. They don't want to wait for a transcript because they know it might take quite a while. And Lord knows they get enough applications. UCLA last year alone got 100,000 applications. Like, what? So they don't want to wait. They're going to ask you to put your transcript in. So you do 9th, 10th, and 11th. You give them the list of classes you're taking in 12th. And then, this is important, if you've taken any high school classes in middle school, those also need to be listed. So maybe you took Algebra 1 in 8th grade. Maybe you took Spanish 1 in 8th grade. They go in also. Okay? They also ask for grading system. They ask for your GPA. And they ask for your test scores. Now, testing is optional, so you don't have to give them your test scores, but there is room for you to do that. So I'm actually only going to give my transcript to MIT. Okay? Request and finish. Right? And now you see requested. Okay? So submission type, if this were common application, it would say CA here. And the fact that it's a computer means that it's electronically transmitted. Believe it or not, there are still some schools that want them on paper. They want your high school advisors to send them on paper. Like, what? paper, what? Right? So each one of these, application unknown. So we go to where it says edit, right? And we're going to say directly to the institution. We're going to go early, well, regular decision November 30th. That's all correct. Save college application. Okay. So it still says unknown because it's not common application. Same with MIT. And we'll apply early action. Submit directly to the institution. There we go. We got that. And then the same with Rutgers. So let's say with Rutgers, I decided, oh, I'm not really sure. I don't know if I want to apply early action. I can change this. I can go regular decision. Now, let me say this to each of you. There's two kinds of earlies. There's early decision and there's early action. Early decision is a binding action. If you apply early decision to a college, you are expected to withdraw all your other applications, pay your deposit within 30 days, and tell your counselor not to send your transcript anyplace else. You're signing a contract. So if you apply early decision to Penn and Penn accepts you, you're going. Now, the exception is if they don't give you enough money, then you can back out. That's okay, but you're going. Early action allows you to apply ahead of time. You're applying with fewer students. You get special treatment, and you find out usually before winter break. But you don't have to go. You don't have to go. You could apply early action to Rutgers. You could apply early action to Temple. You could apply early action to Drexel. And you could just put them in your pocket and wait to see what comes. You don't have to go. So let me say this. There's no downside to early action. None. So if you look at your list of schools and 6 out of the 9 are early action, wham, put it in. There's no downside to early action. None whatsoever. Okay? So back to colleges I'm applying to. And we have these guys on the list. Right? Now, Naviance and Common App are partners. They signed an agreement back about 8 years ago so that whatever you enter into Common Application for the schools to which you're applying will automatically transfer to Naviance. Okay, so let me, where's my Common App? That's here. All right, here's my Common App. I have a fake Common App. Oh, that's the wrong one. Hold on. Right, here's my Common App. Right, I have a practice Common App, as you can see. And I have a bunch of schools on my Common App. Boston University, Swarthmore, Temple, Delaware, Penn. So pretty local schools that I have. There's 5 of them altogether. And by the way, if any of you have time and inclination, next week at this time, starting at 5, I'm going through Common Apps step by step. That'll probably be a good couple hours to do, but please come on board and I'll take you step by step through how to do the Common Application, right? So here's my 5 schools, right? You see that they're on there as well. So let me go back to good old Naviance, right? And look at this button up here. See? It says match accounts. Okay. Watch what happens when I press match accounts. It says, would you like to connect with your Common App? Yes, I do. And it says, hi, Francis. I agree. Connect. And I will be redirected back to Naviance. Watch what happens. Look, get out of here, Boston College. Go away. All the schools that were on my Common App are now here. BU, Delaware, Penn, Swarthmore, and Temple. Okay, and look what it says in the little computer screen, CA, Common Application. Okay. Magic, coolest thing ever, magic. So any schools that are on your Common App list, you do not have to add them one by one. You just press that Match Accounts button and zoom. Okay, so let's go back to my Common App, right? And now I'm thinking, I don't really want to go that far to Boston, right? So I get rid of Boston, right? I remove Boston. So I go back into Naviance, okay? Oh no, Boston's still there. Okay, we have to remove Boston ourselves. It does not remove them. So I click on this little box here. I go to remove, a pop here, and Boston University's gone. Ding, ding, ding. It's gone, right? But let's do this, okay? Now I go back here and I think to myself, you know what? I should apply to Drexel, right? Because Drexel is like a really cool place. And besides, Drexel has its own Wawa now. They used to have to walk to the one at Penn, but now Drexel has its own Wawa. Whoa. Okay, so now Drexel's on my list, right? I go back to my dashboard list. There it is. There's Drexel. So now I go back here. I go back to my schools, and where's Drexel? Oh, not there. It only matches once. So you have to add Drexel now on your own. Right? And how you do that? The old plus sign. Right? That's how you do it. You can add and subtract all you want up until the time that you actually apply. And when you apply, you're going to go in here to the edit, and you're going to say, I've submitted my application. You see that here. I've submitted my application. You click on that and then hit save. That's the signal for your counselor to send the information that he or she must send to the colleges. Okay? You need to keep up with Naviance in order to have your counselor keep up with you. So if you've applied to 5 colleges and you're wondering why you're not hearing from them, if you haven't filled in your Naviance information, it's because your counselor doesn't know that you've applied. That's why. So you have to keep, oh, go ahead.
Sorry. So Zora just asked, what grade can you begin applying to colleges?
You can apply to college in 7th grade if you're qualified. There are some amazing prodigies that do that. Typically, you wouldn't start using Naviance and doing the applications until this summer, the summer before your 12th grade. That's the typical time to do. Good question. If you're like Sheldon on the Big Bang Theory, you started college when you were 9 years old. There are people that are like that. So not me. not me. That you do. Okay. Right. So be sure you keep up with Naviance. Again, you can add and remove schools at any time, both from Naviance and from Common App. But once you have applied, please be sure you go back into Naviance and let your counselor know. Your counselor can't see your Common App. Your counselor can't see your Rutgers app. They can only see your Naviance. So you definitely have to see that. Okay. Okay. Right. Before we do letters of recommendation, I have to show you what is by far the coolest thing ever in Naviance. Okay. You see here on this left side, there's this menu. Okay. Quick links. And underneath college research, there is this odd word called scattergrams. Okay. So I click on this. Okay. Scattergrams. So the scattergram is going to give you a history of the students from your high school that applied to the colleges in which you're interested. It's going to give their GPA and their test score. and plot it on a graph. It's then going to give your GPA and your test score and show you where you are on the graph, right? So let's do Drexel because we love Drexel. I kind of like the idea of dragons, Drexel dragons. So 719 students applied to Drexel in the last 10 years from Cherry Hill High School West. Okay, are you ready? This is going to blow your mind. Wow, it's taking time. 719 people. Okay, this is the Scatergram. This is what it looks like. So all the greens were accepted. Okay? All the greens were accepted. All the reds were not accepted, and all the blues were waitlisted. So the average accepted is down here. Okay? So you can see it was a 12, about a 1230, and what's the GPA? GPA was here. Okay? So you can look and see, like here's somebody that had a 1560 SAT and a GPA of nearly 7. Oh, by the way, every high school has a different formula for doing this. And the Cherry Hill schools, you can get up to a 7 GPA. Is that nuts or what? It's just nuts anyway to do. So here's somebody. Now, this is interesting. They had a 1470, but their GPA was a 4.15. That would look great in Philly, but not in Cherry Hill when you can go up to a 7. A 4.15 is like a C average. So Drexel looked at this student and said, okay, you're smart enough to get a 1470. How the heck are you getting C grades? You're a slacker. That's what they said for that. So you can see this is pretty consistent, right? The students that you figured would get in did get in. But look at this. There's a whole group of students here that are below the norm. And this tells you something very positive. It tells you that Drexel University is very friendly to students from your school. Okay? The reds you kind of expect to where they are, and there's not a lot of outlier reds, like why these students were denied. My guess is that this student applied to a much tougher program. Maybe they applied to engineering, and you can't tell that. This just gives you the GPA and the test score to do, right? So let's move on, right? Let's go back. Oh, that's right. Down here, it gives you all the requirements for Drexel. This is all the requirements that you have. Recommended courses you have to take to do. Okay. So let's move back here. And let's go back in. Okay. Go to colleges. And we'll go to, whoop.
Cigus, you're muted.
How did I get muted?
I don't know.
That's the weirdest thing ever. Whoa. Okay. Sorry. Right? Right. So college I'm applying to, go to colleges, go to college research colleges, what I'm thinking about, right? Move off here, and then go down to scattergrams, right? Okay, so let's pick another one, right? Let's become really sad, right? Let's pick Columbia University, one of the Ivy League schools in New York, and one of the toughest places to get into. 77 students from Cherry Hill in the last 10 years. This is going to be a very different graph. Oops. This is very sad. So here's our norm, right? The norm is a 6.75 GPA and 1530 SAT. That was the norm. So you can see there's very few greens and a whole lot of reds here, right? This is what happens when you're going up against a selective school to do. This is depressing. This is depressing. So let's get out of here. We don't want this anymore to do. But please play with these scattergrams because it gives you some useful information. It's the students in your school, in your high school, that applied to this particular college in the last 10 years. Naviance keeps track of that, and you can see exactly where you stand based on what they did. And again, you may have special talents that they didn't. They may have wealthy relatives that you didn't. So we don't know. We don't know, but this gives us a decent idea for that. Okay, so let's go back. Let's go back to colleges. Colleges I'm applying to. Right? So now we scroll all the way down. Here's all our colleges. And down below here, we see letters of recommendation. This is another crucial thing. The first crucial thing is making sure your list of colleges is up to date and making sure that you notify your counselor when you apply. So your counselor knows that she or he must send the information. This is the second crucial thing. You click on letters of recommendation. Opens up a new screen. You must assign your teachers through Naviance to send letters of recommendation on your behalf. Without this, the teacher letters go nowhere. So please don't leave yourself high and dry. Your teacher's going to work hard on these to make sure that they give you a good send-off. Make sure you assign them. And here's where you do that. You hit add request. Okay. This first question has a list of all the teachers in your school. Every single teacher in your high school will be here. Okay. So Angie's one of my old friends. She's a math teacher at Cherry Hill. So I put Angie in. Now, I don't know why you would hit any other button except this, select all, because even if these schools wouldn't take a letter, Naviance isn't going to send it. Like Rutgers does not accept letters of recommendation, so Naviance won't send it. UCLA doesn't accept letters of recommendation. Naviance won't send it. There's no reason to check all these boxes. Just check the. And now here, include a personal note to remind your recommender. Right? Now, there may be some special things that you want to put in here, but I would say the best thing to do is to go simple. 3 sentences. The first one, thank you very much for agreeing to write my letter. And you can do a little fancy thing. You could do an exclamation point. You could do the smiley facey thing, doing whatever. Okay. I really enjoyed our pre-calc class last year and the way, you explained the problems. So a little plug to your teacher, right? I really enjoyed the class, blah, blah, blah. Hope you are having a grand summer. See you in a couple weeks. There you go. You don't need your life story. You don't need to write a script. This is all you need. This is all you need here. Typically, your teacher If your teacher wants anything from you, they've asked you already. They've asked you to do a questionnaire. They've asked you for a resume, whatever that might be. You don't have to put that in here. You just, nice and simple, 3 sentences. Thank you. Loved your class. Have a great summer. That's all you need. And then, now I'm not going to do this because Angie would get an email if I did. I would hit the submit request button down here. And within 2 seconds, Angie would get an email from Naviance. And the email would say, Cigus Vanni has requested you for a letter of recommendation. Here's where you upload it. So Angie would fill out a form, how do you know Cigus Vanni taught him pre-calculus, what grade, 11th grade, blah, blah, blah. And then Angie would upload her letter into Naviance. The letter doesn't go to the colleges. The letter goes to your counselor's dashboard. And it sits on your counselor's dashboard until everything is ready to go. This is the beauty of Naviance. Your counselor presses one button, one time, and the counselor letter goes, your transcript goes, the school profile goes, the teacher letters go. Boom, one shot. So the school doesn't get bombarded with things. Okay? But without this, nothing happens. Nothing happens without this. Now, Naviance is also aware of the maximum number of recommendations that colleges will allow. So here, you see with Swarthmore, 2 required, 4 allowed. If you tried to send 10 letters, you're not going to get them there. That's going to just make Swarthmore mad. Delaware, none are required, but 4 are allowed. Right? So you look to see what you can send to them. My rule is this, having been the person reading letters, no reason to send more than 2. Seriously, 2 teacher letters, that's enough. But if you want to send a letter from somebody else who's not a teacher, maybe your saxophone teacher, maybe your choir instructor, maybe your ceramics teacher, maybe the person who's the advisor to your Spanish club. You can do that as well if the Naviance allows it. If not, you can use Common App for one of those letters. And again, next week when we do Common App, I'll go through that. So let's go through this again. Where do we find this, right? We find this under where the colleges I'm applying to, okay? And you go to that, you get that chart of the colleges to which you're applying, all the way down the bottom, where it says letters of recommendation. Click, and you get this screen. So for your second teacher, after you submit the request, just go back and do it again. Okay, let's go back and do it again for that, right? So let me get rid of this. See, Angie, nice to know you. To do, and then that's it for Naviance. Okay, scattergrams, scattergrams, scattergrams. We love scattergrams. We do. Okay, so I am finished. It's almost 6 o'clock. I didn't quite expect to talk right up until 6 o'clock, but I did want to leave time for questions and comments. So please, Caitlin is going to monitor the chat. If you have anything to which I can answer, please let me know.
Yeah. Does anyone have any questions? If you do, you can put them in a chat, or as I've been saying, you can raise your hand. I'm just gonna wait a little bit to see if there's any questions.
What kind of student would you recommend applying early decision? Great question, Johnson. Great question. It's a student that knows that he or she has the credentials to be able to get in. That's at least at a point where they would be considered worthy candidates, and whose head, heart, and soul, where's your soul? Wherever it is, match up. This can't be a decision for just one of them. Like, oh, I'm going to go to Harvard because I can make more money. Right. Or, oh, I want to go to Morehouse because they have a lot of hot guys. No, it's got to be all of them together, head, heart, and soul. So you have to be sold, S-O-L-D, on this. And importantly, you have to be able to pay for it. You have to be able to pay for it. If you apply early decision and you can't, college is not going to make you go broke. They will allow you to dissolve the agreement. But why would you torture yourself like that? You got into Harvard and now you can't pay for it? Because they're not going to take you again. They're just going to let you drop and go. So you can use, last week I talked about this, you can go on the website of each college and complete what's called the net cost calculator. And that will give you an idea of what each of these colleges will cost you. You put in your figures, your income, your assets, your parents' income, your parents' assets, all of that stuff. Take you about 20 minutes, and it will give you the number that you can expect from that school. So then you know whether you are equipped to do that. So if the figure says we're going to expect $50,000 a year from your parents, and your parents roll your eyes at you, maybe we're not going to apply early decision. But if it says you only have to pay $6,000 and you get into Penn, Penn will give you the other $71,000 because they can afford to. Drexel can't. Drexel would love to be able to give you another $60,000. They can't afford it. They don't have enough money. So the irony is the schools that cost the most are the ones that can give you the most money. Okay, what else?
I have a question about, so I already did like fill out some of those like career cluster things. My school made me do that.
Okay.
But that was like forever ago. I can redo them, right?
Oh, sure, Kara, sure.
Okay.
There's only one set of things that you can't do, and that's one of the career things. You can only do that once. That's the big general one in the beginning.
Okay.
But you don't want that. You want to be a little bit more specific too. So.
Alrighty.
Yep,
Thank you.
You can redo, right? And don't panic if it says that you should be a nun when you grow up. Because then they're just matching you up against personality characteristics. I know when I did one of these back in high school, I got forest ranger. I was like, okay. I grew up right outside New York. I don't know what a tree is. Come on.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, sure. What else? Don't be shy.
Yeah, you guys can just unmute if you want to ask a question.
Yeah, we have a small enough group. We could do that.
I'm going to assume, unless someone wants to interrupt.
I have a question.
Okay.
Go ahead, Dora.
Is there a way for you to apply to scholarships as well on Naviance?
Naviance has a ton of scholarships. So you go to the scholarship search and you look at what's available. Most scholarships come along with your application. There's no separate application. It's just if you apply to Drexel, if you apply to Temple, if you like, those scholarships are built into the application. There are some private scholarships though. Like there's something called the Coca-Cola Scholars, which is a national scholarship. So that involves its own application. And that's a biggie. Now they don't give away too many of them, maybe 200 a year, but it's 20,000 a year. And probably free Coca-Cola. So I'm on board with that. I still drink soda. Sorry, that's like really bad, but I do for that. And then there are private scholarships, and the best site. Let me put this in the chat. The best place for scholarships is FastWeb. www.fastweb.com. This is the most extensive site, has the most number of scholarships. It's the most accurate site. And once you fill in your information, tell them all about you and what you're looking for, it matches you with scholarships that for which you would qualify. Fast web is good stuff. Good stuff.
Thank